We give you the latest on 3 major news stories.
Also, we will sit with some of the cast and crew live.
Those stories and more as Herndon Live gets underway. I pulled up in a... Welcome to Herndon out, but that's okay. I'm Jack Norcross.
And I'm
shortly. And all right, there we are. We appeared. So that's good. So today we are going to be looking at a lot of news stories that are hitting the airwaves. So we begin with our Around the World segment. And we begin today with the shooting 2 nights ago at Fort Hood in Texas. Mark, what do you make of this?
That's right, Jack. And we know that the gunman, Ivan Lopez, took his own life and also injured 16 and also killed 3 people.
All right, come over here, Mark, so we can see the facts. Let's go. Okay, there we go. All right. Mark's wearing a little bit of green right there on his belly. He's see-through. All right, anyway.
Don't poke me, Jack.
All right, I'm very sorry. But let's keep moving on here. And so obviously, we have a couple of facts here that we obviously know. He killed 3 and even took his own life and also injured 16. And this is the same base that had another gun massacre scene back in November of 2009, killing 13. Mark, what does this tell you about the security of these bases? Do you think there's enough protection?
Well, sometimes it may not be the security itself, but it's the people that have the inside information. So it appears that Lopez was suffering lifetime events of depression, and that was also what might have caused him to commit this action. Like the Navy Yard shooting, he was psychotic, and there was nothing, and he did nothing to stop it.
That's right, and that's a good point. I was going to bring that up. The Navy Yard shooting, what was interesting about that was that it was also a very highly secured location. And I just think it's funny that, you know, they're always so big on security, but obviously it's not paying off.
Yes, but like I said before, sometimes there was not, the security could have played a part, but it didn't play a very major part because these people were military personnel, they had access to the base, and they could easily have gotten in.
That's right. Now let's move on to our next story, and we move down south in Chile into South America, where they have experienced an 8.2 magnitude earthquake. The earthquake killed killed 6 and injured thousands. This led to tsunami warnings and watches all the way as far as India. Now, Mark, this is very devastating, and I know Melissa Cisneros, she is from Peru, and she was very concerned about the tsunami warnings that happened there. And I don't, can we go to the next slide? Yeah, there we go. So if we step out of the way, Mark, if you step over there. Okay. Well, we can obviously see right here, there we go. This is where the earthquake originated in northern Chile, and there's Melissa right there in Peru. All right, so there we go. But anyway, all right, come back in, Mark. So just under 1 million people were evacuated. And Mark, what do you make of this? I mean, we obviously saw the horrifying earthquake and then tsunami back in Japan back in, I believe, 2011. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
What do you make of this, and how can cities prepare for this?
Well, because this area around the Pacific Ocean is known as the Ring of Fire, and there are many tectonic plates that move and shift under the sea, which causes an earthquake, which can be felt thousands of miles away, and in aftermath will most likely be a tsunami, which will either go one direction or the other or both.
Okay, that's very interesting. All right, let's move on to our next story. And Mark, we talked about it last show, and it's back in, they found nothing. Since the last time we've updated you, there has been no really new information that's liable. And what is start becoming a problem is that the pingers from the black box are going to die very shortly, because it's almost at the 30-day maximum time period that the pingers start going off. Do you think there's anything that they can do at this point?
Probably not, because the Indian Ocean is so vast and so huge, and it's one tiny little box. It's about this big. And if they haven't even found plane debris, which is generally seen floating around in the ocean and could be like hundreds of feet wide, then, and it's drifting, mind you, so it may not be at the exact location which the plane fell, but it was taken by the waves and currents, then they will probably, it will take them either a long time to find the black box, or they will not find it at all.
Yeah, so Mark, this is just ridiculous. I mean, I feel bad for the families who have been going through this for 30 days, really haven't getting too much information besides that they're most likely, unfortunately, deceased. I mean, what are the families going through right now?
Well, the families are obviously going through sadness, trauma, and they're very sad that their loved ones are most likely dead, and probably are dead. Now, since most of the passengers were from China, there have been many gatherings. There have been many upset family members. There was recently a storming in the
Indian Ocean?
Yeah,
Yes.
No, not in the Indian Ocean. In the embassy to Malaysia in Beijing.
Oh, yes, a storm. Oh, yeah. I thought you meant like a storm, because there was, one of the pushbacks here is that there was a lot of storms and rain and wind that are happening, in and around the search area.
Yes.
And now they're using people's private jets, including the director of the Hobbit's private jet is being used for the search, because now these smaller planes can go further in a shorter amount of time.
Yes.
And Mark, do you think this is really making a huge difference on the search?
Well, it may, probably not, because it will. There have been search planes that have spent hours out there, and they have been looking like nobody's business. I mean, they have been like photographing every possible thing, and despite them catching hundreds and hundreds of debris and what looks to appear to be debris, there has been nothing found officially.
All right, now we're going to move on to right here in downtown Herndon.
Yes.
And the Depot Museum and the caboose, the doors to the fortnightly library, and windows to the council chambers were all severely destroyed, and members of the Herndon area are devastated by the news. Now, Mark, because we've had a couple of burglary problems in the past in downtown Herndon. What do you think makes Herndon a target?
Well, there are many possibilities. It could be gang related, such as various gangs, or it could be a variety of different reasons, such as someone's desperate for money, or it could just be vandalism.
Yeah, that's right. And obviously members are devastated by the news. I know that the Herndon Connection had Tom Rust, who we'll see you do an interview with a little bit later.
Yes.
He was devastated by the news. And but I think the police are taking new precautions, because there's a new webcam going up at the top of our building, at the top of the Herndon Live. Well, not the Herndon, the HCTV Old Town Hall building, and that'll hopefully they're going to work with the police and to record actions happening in downtown Herndon. So that is very good. All right, well, Mark, thank you very, very much.
Thank you for having me.
And all right, so we are going to move on, and let's see what is our next segment.
Hi, I'm Melissa in Cisneros, and today I'm going to be giving away the weather. So today, Tonight it's going to be 57 degrees with a chance of 60% chance of rain, and the lowest is going to be 48 for today, and the wind's going to be 8 miles per hour. So we're still kind of windy outside, so make sure to wear a jacket or so. Then for tomorrow, April 5th, it's going to be the 61 is the highest, and a 34 is for the lowest, and it's going to be really sunny. So around the afternoon, it should be nice enough to just wear maybe a long sleeve shirt or just like a t-shirt, and then later on it's going to get colder, but no rain, so that's good. Then for Sunday, it's going to be a high of 60, mostly sunny, so that's good, and then 38%, 30 being the lowest, and a chance of rain, none, so that's good, and then 7 miles per hour of wind. Then for Monday, April 7th, the high is going to be 55 degrees, and then 47 degrees is going to be the lowest, and there is going to be 80% chance of rain, and there's going to be 12 miles per hour wind. Then for Tuesday, we're seeing 61 degrees Fahrenheit, and then it's going to be partly cloudy, 20% chance of rain, and that shouldn't be too much of a chance of rain, so maybe we'll see a little bit of mist. Just in case, bring an umbrella to work or to school. And then that's it for the weather to this weekend and until Tuesday. So up next, we have the Council for the Arts segment, and let's go ahead and watch that.
I'm Mahar, and I'm here again with Signe Friedrichs. Last time I talked to her about a scholarship that she was offering. Today we're going to talk about some of the projects that the Council of the Arts do, which she is a member of. So would you like to start us off?
I would love to. My name is Signe. I'm the Executive Director of the Council for the Arts of Herndon, and I'd like to talk to you about a couple of the programs that we're working on right now. At the moment, we got a special grant from a foundation that's very interested in education. So we are starting a new music and movement program at the Herndon Elementary School. We're very excited about this. There's going to be drumming, there's going to be rhythm education and dance. It's going to be great for little kids and then slightly older kids. We've also, over the years, begun some public art programs. So we will commission an artist, or a group of artists in some cases, to create murals. That's what we've done so far. We may branch out into sculpture at some point, but if you're in the downtown area and you see the mural that's on the Nachman building, which is on Station and Lynn Streets, or if you see the mural that's between the Ice House Cafe and the O'Sullivan's, you know that one?
Yeah,
it's very bright.
There's one behind Domino's too.
Yes. So all of those were painted by an artist, various different artists. The one over by the Nachman building was painted by 3 artists in aerosol. That was a kind of a edgy thing.
Yeah.
Some of our others are less edgy. As you know, we also do the scholarship program. A second scholarship program that I didn't mention last time is called Technology in the Arts. And that is for students who have a certain technical skill for creating art, either animation or digital photography or digital painting. And we have a contest, and it goes county-wide. It's not just Herndon. This is one of the few things we do that goes all over the county. And you can apply, and you can get up to $1,000 if your artwork is chosen. So we have some professional judges, and they look it over and pick what they think is the best, and we vote on them.
Okay. Just a question. The Council of the Arts, everything you've mentioned, goes over all of the arts, arts and general drawing, technical. I was wondering if you have a cooking, because cooking is considered an art too.
It is. So culinary arts. We don't currently have anything. I know that ArtSpace has done, which is not the same organization, but they're right off Center Street in Herndon.
Mm-hmm.
They did a program on for Black History Month on soul food. And there was a demonstration, which was very cool. And in the past, the Council for the Arts has done culinary arts, but right now our focus is more on the visual and performing arts.
Okay. So, you know the Herndon Festival. Do you guys do anything about like? Are you guys making new festival activities or?
Yes. We participate in the festival in two different ways. One is a fundraising way, and we have a booth where we sell various different beverages to raise money for the Arts Council. So I urge you to come over and get a glass of something at our beer booth.
Like
We have
everybody at my school loves those what do you call those? Pretzels with like sugar on them.
Oh, yeah, those are nice.
I forgot the name.
But the thing that we do that's our art aspect is we do
sorry.
something called children's hands-on art. And that is, we serve maybe 2,000 or 3,000 kids every year. We come up with all kinds of different arts crafting projects. And then we have arts demonstrations. In the past years, we've had brass rubbings. These two English ladies have shown little kids how to do brass rubbings, which they just love, and it doesn't require a whole bunch of skill. But it's you know, historical. It's interesting. And then we have a Chinese lady who comes and does Chinese fan painting for us. So those are very popular. We had people waiting in line for quite a while last year. This year we have a gentleman who's going to help kids make instruments, and then they're going to play the instruments and march around. So we have lots of good things going on. And if you would like to volunteer for the Council for the Arts, this is a golden opportunity because it's a lot of fun. You get to spend time with little kids and do crafts. And last year we had kids singing and performing. They sang Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Their parents melted. It was awesome.
Okay, so that was good. If you're interested in any of the projects that she has mentioned, like technical art or like helping with children, then I really recommend you to like volunteer for the Council of the Arts.
And you can find out all of our information on our website, which is herndonarts.org.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Mahar, for that segment.
All right, well, last Saturday, our very own Mark Seaman sat down with our Herndon delegate, Tom Rust, about what they just voted on in Richmond, and let's see how that conversation went.
Hello, Herndon.
Hello, everybody. I'm Mark Seaman, and this afternoon I'm here with Delegate Tom Rust, who is a member of the Virginia delegation, and today I'm going to ask him a few questions. Hello.
Well, good afternoon, Mark. Thank you so much for having me. I look forward to your questions.
Thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
First of all, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Do you want the long version or the short version?
Either one.
I've lived in Herndon all my adult life. I was fortunate enough to serve on the Herndon Town Council and fortunate enough to serve as mayor of the town for a long time, almost 20 years, and then I was elected to the Virginia General Assembly, the House of Delegates, in 2001, and have served there since then. In addition to that, I've served on 2 university boards of visitors, Virginia Tech and Longwood University, and I'm an engineer in my professional life. I'm a graduate. My undergraduate degree is from Virginia Tech, and then I have a couple other degrees.
And first of all, you've had so much political experience. You've worked on the state level and you've worked on the local level. Like you said, you were town mayor, then you were town council, and then you were town mayor again, and now you're part of the Virginia delegation.
Yes.
When could you say that you became interested in becoming a politician and understanding politics?
I was a very young man when I was in Herndon, and Herndon, this was 1971, 71. Herndon was beginning to grow. There were a lot of growth issues, a lot of infrastructure issues, roads, sewer, water. I was practicing engineering, and a lot of folks knew that I was an engineer, and I lived in Herndon, so politics in those days was much different than it is today. So people came to me, a little group of people came to me and basically said, you know, we really could use an engineer's perspective on the town council with all the issues we've got going on, particularly with rezoning requests for new development, that type thing. So they talked to me, and I said, well, I'd be happy to do that. And So I got into it basically as just a citizen who wanted to help contribute to his community. And I did that for 13 years. And then in 1984, after doing it for 13 years, being on both the town council and being the mayor, I got interested in other things, furthering my education being one of them. So I decided not to seek re-election. I actually thought, Mark, at that time that probably I was finished, that I had really, as we say, given my ounce of flesh at that time. And so I went back to, I was going to night school, continued that, and did what I needed to do there. And then in 1990, sort of the same thing came around again. Some folks came to me, and the town was embroiled in a fairly controversial matter, and they basically came to me and said, well, we liked what you did when you were mayor, and would you consider doing it again? And I basically said on one condition, and they said, what's that? I said, well, the current mayor, Rick Thosen, is a dear friend of mine, and I think a good mayor, and I will not run against him. If Rick decides he doesn't want to run or wants to step down, then I will do it. So I went and talked to Rick, and Rick said, my goodness, I'm tired too, and I'm ready to step aside. So, so he decided not to seek re-election, and I did seek re-election and was elected. And then sort of the same thing happened in 2001 when the legislative district that I serve now was created. It was not in existence at that time. After the 2000 census, Northern Virginia continued to grow, so we got more seats in both the House and the Senate, and this seat was open. I mean, there was nobody in it. It hadn't been in existence till 2000, so folks came to me and said, you know, you've got a lot of experience in local government, and you know what's going on here, so would you consider running for the House of Delegates? So I did, and that's what happened. And so it basically was all driven by a sense of community, a sense of wanting to give back. I've been fortunate in many ways, and this was my attempt to give something back to the community. As a part-time legislator, I have no interest at all in being a full-time legislator like in Congress or something like that.
Now, what laws has the delegation passed that would personally affect us in the Northern Virginia?
Well, every law we pass, well, 98% of the laws we pass affect all of Virginians. Every now and then we will do something for a specific area, like the transportation bill last year. House Bill 2313 was a statewide bill, and then it had a component for Northern Virginia and a component for Hampton Roads. So that was a little different, that we selected two different areas that needed additional help in transportation. So that was last year. This year, some laws that come to mind immediately that again affect everybody in Virginia, but you will see them here in Northern Virginia. When we did the transportation bill, we had a $64 a year registration fee for hybrid vehicles, which a lot of people thought was unfair because hybrids obviously are environmentally sensitive and friendly. So I had a bill in this year to remove that, and that was successful, and that'll happen the 1st of July. And that's particularly important in Northern Virginia because about 75% of all the hybrids are up here in Northern Virginia. It won't help you, but we reworked the SOL, Standards of Learning, dramatically.
Higher or lower?
We reduced the number of tests in elementary school, K through 7, from
I think it's K through 6 in elementary school.
Whatever the elementary school is, we reduce the, well, it's everything other than high school, let me put it that way. We reduced the number of tests from 23 to 17, and we also changed the format of the test. So you'll see, and that was a statewide issue, but we were hearing an awful lot about it in Northern Virginia. So those are just a couple of things that we did that would impact you and me, and everybody in Virginia and Northern Virginia.
Now, another thing I'd like to bring up is bipartisanship.
Yes.
Now, bipartisanship is when the two political parties, Republican and Democrats,
Yes.
work together to solve one solitary issue.
Yes.
How do you feel about bipartisanship, and do you think that bipartisanship can help solve an issue faster?
The short answer is yes. Not all the good ideas come from one party or the other. I think if you look at what goes on in Washington in the Congress, that is so polarized right now that at the end of the day, nothing is getting done in the Congress, in my opinion. Virginia has a tradition of working together, and I think, as we were talking a little bit before the show started, this year there was bipartisan support for the entire budget. The budget is the most important thing we do.
Yes.
And as we were talking, we were within 0.1% of having the budget totally done, except for one single issue, and that was whether or not we should expand Medicaid. And that has become a very political issue with the Democrats on one side, most Republicans on the other side. That's probably the most non-bipartisan issue we've had in some time. And as I told you, we will sort that out. The Virginia way is to come together somewhere in the middle, and I think we will do that. I also don't have any doubt we will have a budget by July 1, which is when we need to do it. But the transportation bill last year was a perfect example of bipartisanism. There were not enough Democrats to pass the bill by itself. There were not enough Republicans to pass the bill by itself. Because the Republicans, of which I am one, were split. The Democrats were split, but not to that much of a degree. So at the end of the day, we put together a coalition, and that bill passed, I've forgotten the numbers, probably 65-35, something in that range. But it took both parties coming together to do that. And that's really the way things ought to be done. And if you read the media, the only issues you ever read about are the ones that cause the controversy, the ones that are partisan in one way or another. We probably had 2,500 bills this year, round figures, and we passed maybe 1,000 or so of them. Well, of those 1,000, probably 900 of them were non-controversial. So it's a much more collegial body than you might expect from just reading the papers, or the media, I should say.
All right, last question.
Yes.
There are many issues being brought up to the delegation, such as the economy,
Yes.
job creation, transportation, education. When a subject is brought up to you, how do you deal with it? Like, what would be your process of dealing with that issue?
That's a great question. And it'll take probably too long to walk you through it, but basically, the General Assembly works on a committee structure. I mean, with 2,500 bills, and this year the bills were actually down. We're usually closer to 3,000. All bills come in and are assigned to a committee that is, quote unquote, the expert in that area. I happen to be on 4 committees: Transportation, Education, Science and Technology, and Commerce and Labor. So if a bill comes to one of those committees, I am pretty well versed on it and know what the bill is, the pros and the cons. If a bill does not come to one of those committees, on which comes to a committee of which I'm not a member, and it's controversial or it's not a run-of-the-mill bill, I will go to the chairman of that committee and have him or her explain that bill to me after I read it and study it. And you also will have proponents and opponents of every bill, not only citizens who care about it, and we get over something in the range of 400 or 500 emails every single day on legislation. We always look at those, how many are for it, how many are against it, what are the reasons for, what are the reasons against. Then you also, if it's a controversial bill, you will have lobbyists who will come in and talk to you. And lobbying is not a bad word, because a good lobbyist will tell you why they support the bill. And then when you ask them, they'll say, well, why should I not vote for this bill? What's the bad parts about the bill? And they will tell you that. And both sides will come in. So it's a process of education, a process of being open, a process of listening to all sides. But at the end of the day, when it gets to the floor of the House, the committee chairman from which that bill has come will stand up and explain the bill. And since I'm chairman of transportation, I stand up on the floor and essentially explain every transportation bill that comes out. So people will rely on me in the transportation area to tell them the pros and the cons, and they will come to me. Conversely, I will go to the chairman of that committee. So it is an educational process, and it's one that you have to be open about, one you have to be willing to listen to both sides, and at the end of the day, you make your own mind up. But we do rely heavily on the committee structure. There's no way any one delegate will know everything about every bill. And you also will have a lot of bills that you will never see. In other words, they go to the Appropriations Committee, and the Appropriation Committee decides for one reason or another that it's not a good bill, so it never even comes out of there. So you never see the bill. So you have to learn, and it takes a while for people to learn this, to look at the bills that actually you're going to have to vote on. So the committee process is a good process, and it works. And you have to realize that you have to depend on the committees to get the work done properly. And a committee down there, a subcommittee, will start meeting at 6:30 a.m. in the morning, and it's not unusual for some committees, not all, to go to 11, 12 o'clock at night. It is a pretty brutal, intense session, and bills at a subcommittee will get a 15 or a 20-minute hearing, and that's pretty long. So you have to know, if you're presenting a bill, like when I have a bill that goes to a committee of which I'm not on, I have to stand there and tell them all about that bill, why it should be passed and what the good things are, the reason. It has to be done in a very short period of time. So long-winded answer, but you just have to be open. You have to listen to both sides. You have to listen to your constituents, and then at the end of the day, you do what you think is best for your constituents and the Commonwealth of Virginia.
That's a good answer. Thank you for coming, Mr. Rust.
Well, thank you for having me. I enjoyed it. They were good questions.
Thank you very much. All right, we go back to the anchors.
All right, thanks, Mark and Tom.
And here in the studio, we have Casey and Raleigh. Casey's going to talk to us later about the prom dress drive, but Raleigh here is going to be talking about sports and the Final Four. So why don't you go on with that?
Well, guys, upsets continued throughout the whole bracket. There have just been so many upsets. Statistics showed that, like, for bracket throwing, as of the Sweet 16, 1 out of every 4,000 brackets were still standing. So 3,999 out of 4,000 had been broken. And then as of the Elite Eight, it was 1 out of every 10,000 had still been standing. And now that it's the Final Four, probably no one has their brackets left anymore because there have been so many upsets. The most popular one has been Dayton beat Syracuse in I think it was the round of 32. It's completely unprecedented because Dayton has had 2 big upsets this year. 10th place Stanford beat 2nd place Kansas in the round of 32 as well. First seed Kentucky beat 8th seed Wichita State. Oh, excuse me, it was the other way around. Connecticut beat Villanova, which was one of my predictions to make it to the Final Four. And they lost in the round of 32. They didn't even make it to the Sweet 16, which is really upsetting for me. And obviously for Villanova. All these upsets occurred in the round of 32. The only team I predicted to get to the Final Four was Arizona, and that's the only team that even made it. UCLA was bested by Florida in the Sweet 16. Michigan State, one of my other predictions, lost in the Elite Eight to Connecticut, and they're on a roll with upsets. Hopefully for them, they'll put off the big time and beat first place Florida in the Final Four. Speaking of the Final Four, I believe we have a graphic that shows the Final Four. Both games are on April 5th. The one between the Gators and the Connecticut Huskies. A lot of upsets.
That is
So-
not what I want to hear, Raleigh, but I'll take it from you. All right, thanks, Raleigh. And on the other side of the desk is Casey Molina, who recently went over to the Reston Community Center for a prom dress drive where they were giving out free prom dresses. Casey, welcome.
Hi guys.
Hello.
Okay.
So you went to the prom dress drive at Reston Community Center,
Yep.
and they were giving out free dresses for so you took advantage of that, right?
Yeah, definitely. It was a really great experience. They had like an accessory room, and basically it had all these types of prom accessories, and then they had all the dresses up on racks by size. And luckily, when I went with me and my friends, it was kind of like business was kind of settling down a little bit, but it had definitely been a lot busier earlier in the day. So yeah, I got some footage, and yeah, there was a lot of people there. It's actually led by a fraternity who volunteers there, and they organize it every year. And I had the opportunity to talk to the Reston Community Center teen coordinator. And basically, he just gave me some basic information. He said he really enjoys doing the dress drive every year because it gives girls an opportunity to just take advantage of free dresses, and prom is really expensive, so that's something a lot of people from not so privileged families think about.
Yeah, that's it's a really great thing that they do. Now, do you have any idea of how many dresses there were? Because it seems like from these video footage we're looking at, there's a lot of dresses.
Yeah, there was quite a bit. I wouldn't be able to give you a number. I just know, so there was that rack on the side where I am right now, and then there was a rack on the other side of the room. And then they had, like I said, their own shoe and accessory room. So
Good. Well, it looks like you're having fun time with your friends.
yeah, we had a good time.
That looks good. All right. Well, all right. So there's dress sizes, and so is this once a year? Is this a once a year event?
Yes, it happens every once a year, and there's also a rule: you can only have one dress per person.
Did you get a dress?
Well, I actually did get a dress.
Oh, Casey.
I don't know whether or not I'm going to prom yet, but yeah, I did get a dress. Actually, I got two. I kind of cheated a little. My friend got a dress for me, and then I got my own dress. But yeah, so one is kind of like a prom style dress, and it's just like a light lavender color if I decide to go to prom. But yeah, there was a lot of great options there. I think something for everyone who has like a different idea about what they want their prom style to be like. So.
Well, that sounds just great. Casey, thank you for
Sounds
going
like
on
a lot
that.
of
We
fun.
would have showed you the real full thing,
Yeah.
but unfortunately there was an audio problem. But that's okay because Casey's here to talk with us live. Well, Emily, you sat down with a couple of your fellow Herndon Live friends, including
Yes, with Casey.
and you talked about the new Divergent movie and related it back to the book, Casey, which I know you read. So why don't we take a look?
Hey guys, so it's Emily here today, and today we're going to be doing like a little book/movie review on the latest blockbuster, Divergent. So today here we have Elise, Allie, Casey, and Haley, and these two, they both have very different opinions on the book and movie, but we're just going to be talking about that a little bit today. So basically, Divergent is a dystopian story that follows Triss, who lives in the very near future. I suppose you could say that.
Somewhat near.
Yeah.
Somewhat
Yeah.
not so distant future.
not so distant future, in a society in Chicago, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
Abandoned Chicago, where there's a system. Everyone is grouped into a different faction, and there are 5 factions. There is Candor, Abnegation, Dauntless, Amity, and I'm forgetting one.
Erudite.
Yeah.
Erudite.
Yeah.
Erudite.
With an E, I don't know.
Erudite is for the smart people, you know, the knowledgeable. And then there's Candor, the truthful people, or truthful peoples, I don't know. Law peoples. Then there's Abnegation, the selfless ones. The main character, Triss, or Beatrice, starts out in that faction. Then there is Dauntless, for the brave or violent
Reckless.
people. Reckless, that's a good word. And Triss eventually joins that faction later in the book. And then Amity, which is just the really nice, farming, peaceful, hippie people.
Yeah, that's what I said. Hippie
Party
Hippie
people.
So those are the 5 factions that.
And fractionless.
Factionless.
Faction.
They don't know their fractions,
Not
people.
fractions. But factionless is just people who don't fit into a category. They're basically homeless.
Yeah, those are my people.
Okay. So those are the 5 things that are mentioned a lot in the book. But basically, the main character, Beatrice, she leaves her original faction and joins a new one, or she joins Dauntless, and
there's a budding romance between her
and
Dauntless boy.
and the Dauntless boy 4.
very abrupt.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere.
They're
just
very.
like, bam.
These 2 have very different opinions on that romance. They don't like the romance. They like the romance. Yeah. Anyway, 4 is played by Theo James, and Beatrice is played by Shailene Woodley. And throughout the movie, there is a antagonist played by Kate Winslet. She is a how do I explain her?
She's like a government leader.
She's the
government
head of Erudite. I don't know
Eri-
how to
Eri-
pronounce
No
it.
one can.
I don't know.
Erudite
That's all right.
faction.
She was probably like the most interesting character.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I really liked her and Ashley
Yeah,
Judd a
Janine.
lot.
Ashley Judd plays
Judd, yeah. Such a jerk.
Ashley Judd.
Ashley Judd, she plays Beatrice's mother in the movie, by the way. So anyway, throughout the movie, there is the budding romance between Beatrice and 4, and then also throughout the movie, there is a sort of rivalry between the government official, Janine, played by Kate Winslet, and Beatrice, played by Shailene Woodley.
Miss Woodley.
Woodley.
Okay, so why don't you guys start off with talking
Okay.
about it?
Well, so I read the book, and I thought the book was really good. I thought it had a good storyline. Without doing any spoiler alerts, I'm just basically going to say that I think it fits into the whole dystopian genre that's really popular nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I liked it. I enjoy
I
it.
do like that genre though. I don't know. I know a lot of people are kind of tired of it with Hunger Games and Divergent and stuff, but
Yeah.
I like it, and I like how the setting was good. The whole like Chicago like abandoned, and the cinematography also I thought was a lot better than Hunger Games, because I don't know, Hunger Games is kind of like one tones and like
Yeah.
Divergent had more colors in it and seemed more futuristic than the Hunger Games.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah,
Even though I didn't see the movie, I saw the trailers.
I agree with your mention when you mentioned cinematography. Lots of I don't know, like there are scenes that are
yeah, I mean what they did with the light and just like the setting and stuff.
It just
looks
sort of
a
helped
lot
with the mood.
nicer than Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Ali, what do
Yeah.
you think about it?
I only saw the movie, and I am not a huge fan of the genre. I try and look past that. I mean, I thought it was welly done. I don't speak English, okay? This is a foreign language. I speak gibberish.
Okay.
All right.
And I liked parts of the movie. Other parts I thought were very poorly, like, just done, even by the director, some parts. Like, the beginning of the movie where she's just talking about all the different factions. I thought that gave away a lot of her decision making right away, so there was no climax.
You never really knew which faction she was going to
Yeah.
Yeah, because she sounded more excited.
I don't know if it did that inside the book, but I
Yeah.
was disappointed.
So I
watching the
have a
movie.
question for you guys. So who saw the movie?
I saw it.
You guys,
Yeah,
you
I
saw
saw
it.
the
Okay.
movie.
Oh wow. Okay. So what I really liked about the book was that there's a lot of imagery. So I feel like how true do you feel like the way you pictured it when reading the book is the way that they portrayed it in the movie?
Yeah, for the most part, they had all the parts from the book in the movie, except for one really violent part with the eye.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
Wait, okay, so before we go, further more into the book and the movie, Casey, and Haley, you both read the book. Do you want to
Yes.
give us a little bit of a background story on these factions and the characters?
Whew, all right. Okay. All right. So, Eurydite is the one where everyone's really smart and
So that's the first faction.
yeah, strives for intellectual excellence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Candor's the honest ones.
Yeah. I feel like that'd be so annoying.
Like,
Um,
okay.
yeah. Amity is the one where everyone just farms and is really peaceful. And everyone gets along with each other, and is
Yeah.
also kind of the mediator between the other factions.
The hippie group.
Yeah, they're very free spirited.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
And Abignation is the selfless ones that are always helping others.
the main characters
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
that.
they
that
mainly
faction.
focus on Abignation in the movie.
Yeah. And then there's Dauntless, which is that's the one Triss. Am I allowed to say that? Yeah.
Triss,
Yeah.
the main
Yeah, so
yes.
Triss joins Dauntless, and they basically all wear black and just jump around and do really athletic things all day. So yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like
So so Triss. What Shailene Woodley she played the
Yeah.
main character Triss
Yeah.
in the movie recently. Do you guys have a sort of opinion that you express on her style? Do you think she fit the character?
I think I liked it. Well, I've had some people say that like they thought she didn't look hardcore enough
Mm-hmm.
to play the part because the faction she joined, Dauntless, is all like punk and stuff.
Yeah.
But I actually kind of liked it like that because I mean she's pretty, but she's not like gorgeous or anything. I
Yeah.
think she just like is kind of like a normal looking girl.
yeah.
So I think that's fine. Yeah, about like the storyline though, I mean like I liked how like the girl was a protagonist and I really liked how like the main antagonist was also a girl or a woman, I guess.
Yeah.
Like that's,
Kate Winslet, right?
Yeah,
Who plays
yeah. I mean
Janine.
that's cool, but
Yeah, Janine.
then they had like a whole romance thing and that just seemed really
Not the women,
unnecessary.
but-
I don't know, I don't like romance that much, so maybe I'm being biased, but
Yeah.
it would have been a lot cooler if it was just like this one girl like taking down the establishment and not some guy who feels
Helping
the need
her
to take
out.
his shirt off.
And like, I just, yeah, I didn't like how he just randomly just started helping her near the end, just so
Yeah.
he could sort of be a hero
They
too.
had no chemistry. I mean, in the
Really?
book they might have, but I didn't read the book, and in the movie they had no chemistry.
Yeah.
All right. So this
And-
hold up. This
Oh, sorry.
chemistry is by the way, Four and Triss, the two main characters.
Four is a name.
Four.
dauntless, so you don't expect her to look hardcore. I think they did a good job.
Her hair, though.
Yeah.
I think they
Cut it
could
away.
have.
If you're gonna
Yeah.
be like fighting and battling, you don't.
You don't
want
need
her
all.
to,
Yeah.
And,
Exactly.
okay, can we talk about how her first faction,
Abnegation.
abnegation. They were like could only look in the mirror for like 10 seconds or whatever.
Yeah.
That
They were
bothers
supposed to be
me.
all selfless and stuff.
You described that as almost like an Amish.
Yeah, it was kind of they had
community.
like an Amish feel,
Yeah.
but her
Freaking
and her
Amish.
mom still wore like makeup, like eyeliner.
Yeah, I was thinking
and, like,
that too.
mascara, and I'm
Like,
just
Did
like,
they?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, like
Okay.
I
It
watched.
totally just doesn't fit the movie. It was so distracting.
I watched the movie and like she had makeup on before she looked in the mirror and I was like, how does that work? And I read the
Well,
book
that's
too.
just movies.
Yeah,
guys.
that's
Yeah.
not, that's
It's just the culture in Hollywood. I just,
I
yeah.
just
I
think
agree
that's a
with
flaw
that.
with the movie by my classifications. That
Yeah.
It just seems kind of questionable.
I just didn't like For's acting.
Oh,
the only
yeah.
time he seemed into it was when he was making out with Triss.
yeah, I mean
That's the
that
only
might have been
time.
part of why they didn't have the chemistry. I mean, one, it was like the storyline was kind of just like the guy and the girl, like first they don't really get along, and then
Yeah.
I guess it was supposed to be like they warmed up to each other, but it kind of seems like they were like, oh no,
really
I hate you, and
fast.
it's just like, okay, yeah, just kidding, I love you.
Launched too
But
quickly, yeah.
part of them
Their
yeah.
relationship did go fast, but
might have been
it
due
was
to the
so
fact that
good.
the guy just couldn't act very well.
So so overall, you two like it.
Yeah.
You guys not crazy
yeah,
about
it's
it.
average.
So
I wouldn't see the movie again.
No.
Really?
I've
Well,
seen
I
it
really want to
twice.
see it. I really want to see the
Yeah,
movie.
Yeah.
just read the book, right?
Yeah, I just read the book.
So after hearing this, you can decide whether to go out to the local movies, I guess, and see it. Those are our opinions on it.
I'm sure a lot of people loved it.
I mean,
I
I
heard
If
great
you didn't
things
read the
about it.
book and you were just watching the movie for the first time, you're the average person. I think you would like it, and if you read the book and saw the movie, you'd be really proud of it because it has a lot of stuff from the book to the movie.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay. Well, that's it, and back to Jack and I. All right. So yeah.
All right, well that was something. I'm sorry for those were my fingers. in
Yes,
case you
his
saw
finger
some
got in the
fingers.
shot several times. But Divergent was a great movie. Also, another movie that comes out today is Captain America. So here's,
You're excited about that.
I'm very
That's all
excited
she's
about
talking
Captain
about.
America. I love Captain America.
Well, that's good.
Anyway, also, if you don't plan on going to the movies, you can head over to the Herndon Middle School to see the middle school production of 13, directed by our very own favorite Mr. Scott Pufumi. Yes.
Anyway, we were supposed to have them, but I don't blame them. They were all, I texted them and they said they were all tired and everything. They just did their previews this today, all throughout the day for the middle school, and we stopped by last Saturday.
See how they were doing.
And that it seemed like they were pretty all well prepared, and HCTV will be there tomorrow afternoon and filming the event.
Yeah. So today's poll was well, kidding. We don't have a poll this week, but
Yeah, we do.
no, we don't.
Yeah, we do. Today's poll relates to the segment. Oh, wait, we don't have a poll.
Yeah, we
Okay, sorry. Well, let's just make this straight here. We were supposed to have a poll about, but the segment that was the poll was based off of problems. But that's okay. You know, that's
Okay.
live TV for you, and that's how everything.
Anyway,
works.
that's it for today's show. I'm Emily Ann.
And I'm Jack Norcross, and remember to subscribe to us on YouTube, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
And we will see you 2 weeks from now.
Well, 3 weeks, Emily, because we're gonna have a spring break. We're gonna have spring break off.
That is true.
But stay tuned for Jazzercise coming up next right here on HCTV, and we'll see you back here in 3 weeks. We're going to take a week off for spring break, and